in the aftermath of everything that had happened, in which I'd been through the worst period of my life.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, shit happens, it's not your fault. But it was. It's one of those. It is the little things like you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it matters.
It does.
So what do you think it was that made you successful? What enabled you to keep going with your ADHD? Obviously, you didn't know growing up, but
Keep
you
becoming a
struggled.
surgeon
You
you
struggled.
are.
You said you failed exams.
Oh yeah.
You said you had to. It wasn't an easy road for you to get to where you got to. So, what do you think made you keep going? And what keeps you going?
It's really hard because you're constantly surrounded by people who are very highly functioning.
Yeah.
And there's a hierarchy, and I'm lucky that I'm in a team that you don't feel like there's that hierarchy per se.
You know where you stand, right?
Yeah.
I think it's equally important to know where you stand within the framework, but there needs to be a framework, not a hierarchy, so to speak. Cool.
And I think I've just been very lucky with my parents, to be honest. I think surrounding yourself with people who, they don't have your lived experience, but they try to understand and who are compassionate. I think, I don't always achieve my goals. Just this week, Just this week I got told I didn't get an interview for a course I wanted to join, but then my boyfriend sent me the most lovely message, just being like, I love the fact that you push yourself out there knowing that you might not get things, and actually, like, I love that more about you than if you were getting everything, because you know that well. And just having someone like that, I think it's just the people you surround yourself with, and having friends.
Keep going, and if someone can recognise the struggle that you go through, sometimes it's just as validating.
Yeah.
So have you found it difficult with relationships and friends with ADHD in your life?
Massively.
Yeah.
Massively.
It's
so
hard.
It's really hard. I constantly feel like such a bad friend because I know that I struggle with getting into contact with people, and it's a double. It's a number of things. I know that if I'm going through a difficult time, if it's even not ADHD related but anything, I always feel like I'm overwhelmed, and I don't want to tell my friends because I feel like I'll put the overwhelm on them. But then I go quiet, which is stupid because actually I know that if my friends were going through something, I'd want to be there for them. And then, so then you go quiet, and then they think you've just like forgotten them. But really, all I want to do is talk to them. Yeah. But and then it will be ages. People don't need to reach out
sometimes, do they? Like, and when they do, they need a few goes. They need to push you, which is not really conventionally polite. But actually, if someone rings on the doorbell. Yeah. It's like, oi, dickhead, come on.
Exactly.
And that's what you really want. That's what you need. But if you did that to a neurotypical, fuck it out.
I guess there's a spectrum to how people with ADHD deal with certain situations. I guess like the way I guess your shortfall is not communicating as much with your friends as you say, but that might not be the same for everybody with ADHD.
No, exactly.
I don't know what Les, what would you say is your biggest weakness in terms of dealing with your ADHD?
Fuck no. I think that sometimes that's a tough one. Because and I'm not thinking that I have so many weaknesses, and it's not me being arrogant about it either, because I know the thing is that if I recognise something that I need to work on, I do, but you do it quietly. I think it's communicating the progress to yourself as well as to others, and also kind of appreciating the fact that you do have a disadvantage, but you don't want to admit that to yourself either, because because you're so tenacious and you've been brought up, and you're good, and you will defeat it.
Oh, yeah.
And there's absolutely nothing that will get in the way of that kind of rock solid determination. But for me, sometimes it is to me it's actually the reactions of other people that's the problem. And it's that like everyone sort of thinks they get it, but then when it actually really does get in the way of work and stuff, like in particular being professional in an environment, it's all fun and games to be the funny guy, but actually I am also a very competent person, but I don't see that necessarily myself, and I think it's being hard on yourself, and also being hard on because I think it's finding that positivity and giving it to yourself, because I know that it's particularly in stressful situations when the world is coming down on you, and like for example when I lost my job, when I got made redundant, I was like, fuck, here we go again. And I knew the cycle, and it was this, for me, the difficult part of getting up after that was understanding the cycle, but I did it different this time. I gave myself 2 weeks to just get wasted, and I enjoyed those 2 weeks. I'm not gonna lie, I spent 2 weeks shit-faced, fuck them. You know, I don't care. I've got redundancy
feel
pay.
like-
like whatever. But you know, it was the emotional reaction, and it's also trying to figure out what other people are saying behind your back, and it's the anxiety that comes with it. It's the frustration of like, am I doing this right? And that's the kind of thing. And because you're used to being told that you're doing it wrong.
But that's also where RSD
And-
comes in.
Yeah, and it's hard because you do.
Do you
your
ever
best.
find that have like being fired and going through that process have had like a negative impact on you?
Massively.
Do you have like, I guess, was it post-traumatic stress?
PTSD. kind of.
PTSD. Do you feel that you have that?
Sort
Because
of.
I've been fired as well, and I feel that I have that.
You probably did have a complex
Yeah.
PTSD. I mean, like, you know,
Yeah.
and it sounds like we're not. You know, everyone thinks.
And I don't have
ADHD.
ADHD for the record, but I mean, I've
No,
been
but you
through
still
that.
have it. Like, you
And I've gone through like minor situations at work, and I go back to that moment, going through that really negative situation.
When I had feedback from one of
Yeah.
my last ones, and it looked very similar to something that I'd had before, I was so upset.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't know how. That's the other thing is I don't know how to take that kind of
Yeah.
criticism because it's not just that. It's about you because I see the pattern that's gone in the past, and this person's just like, look. All my boss wanted was for me to just straighten up a few sentences, and they couldn't figure it out. If they can't figure it out, I can't figure it out. All I know is that people are upset with me, and I should be able to do this, and I don't understand why they're upset.
Yeah.
Why can't I, you know, like, why am I not doing what I'm supposed to be able to do, even though I'm perfectly capable of it? What the fuck is going on, really? And then it's the disconnect between reality and, you know, what you perceive, and then also what they perceive, and the reality is in the middle. And you feel like you know, you're kind of like, there's that kind of feeling of like, dodge it, you know, I've got to dodge it. Or like the worst one was like, you know, here we go again. And that was that feeling. And I've kept the you know, like the letter that I got when they justified why they were getting rid of me in the first job. And it's that kind of pattern and that fear of the pattern, the fear of, not failure, I'm perfectly fine with failure. I can fuck it up, and as long as I've got the opportunity to get up and go again.
Yeah.
But it's when that opportunity runs out, because people's patience, they do run out.
Yeah.
You know, there's only so many times you can fuck something up, and there's only so much sympathy people can have. And the same thing applies domestically. Is, you know, it's a bit like sort of if I make a mistake once. I mean, if I was late to a date once, and Elena was upset, and that was because I was about to go away for 3 weeks, and she didn't say that part until later on, where she was like, "Look, come on, man, you're going to be gone for 3 weeks." And I didn't realize how she felt because we'd only been together 2 months. But she felt like, you know, she was like, "Well, you're 15 minutes late, man. Come on." You know, I just got caught up doing laundry and everything like that.
Time blindness.
Time blind, fucking nightmare.
Is that another thing, another symptom of
Yeah.
ADHD?
Oh yeah.
Time
Such
blind.
an issue. Time blindness.
Jesus Christ.
But I'll say
You
like
look up and it's 4
I'll say
o'clock.
dealing with Les, you're not like late.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of effort goes into that sometimes.
Really?
Oh my
Really?
gosh. And
We
sometimes
should
if you
see
have
this.
Sometimes
Oh,
it's
yeah.
irritatedly on time.
Oh yeah, because you know what? If you know you have an appointment at
Yeah.
1 p.m., you will not do anything.
Nothing.
Nothing. Even
Yeah,
though you know you have so
waiting
much
mode.
to do and you can have time to do it, but because you are so determined not to
Oh
be
my
late
God,
that you will
yeah.
just not do anything, and then you probably still will be late because then you'll be like focusing on the time too much, and then be like, oh shit, I was meant to leave 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I remember like,
And then the train will do
I
something.
remember,
Yeah,
when,
exactly.
I remember when we first did the podcast, and me and Les, like this is the Dr. Lou episode. Me and Les agreed to meet up 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like,
To be fair, it was mostly her. She's always late.
So I'm like,
I'm going to be protective of it.
we message each
Dr. Lou.
other. Me and Les
We were like,
message.
Dr. Lou.
Me and Les message each other like, oh, we meet up 5. I'm like, great, sweet. So I'll go to the gym, come home at 4, shower, eat some food, and then set up all the equipment. I didn't have as much equipment as we have now.
Yeah.
But I was like, come home 4, set up the equipment, we'd be ready to record at 5. So he messages me at 3, saying I'm outside your house,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I'm
last time,
like,
lad. I was
would
too-
you?
I was
I'm in the
excited.
gym. I'm doing a bench.
Because we'll be
press.
so focused.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of doing a bench press. I've been there for about 10 minutes. Literally, I've been in the gym for 10 minutes.
You should have seen our texts today.
And I was just like, I looked down at I just happened to look down at my phone because I use it for music.
Our texts today were...
Yeah, like Marlon.
Sorry. I'm
Yeah.
2 hours early.
Yeah. I'm at Marlon. I'm outside your flat, and I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? I'm like,
Well, 'cause it works well with network rail.
the gym's about 10 minutes away, so I'm like, for fuck's sake, Les.
You have half
So
an hour
I'm like,
fucking
get
time.
changed quickly, run
Yeah.
all the way home, and he's outside the flat. And I'm
because
like,
we are so-
I'm like,
It's
what?
because there's half
Whoa.
an hour
And I'm like-
fucking time.
I'm like, Les.
There's a fucking
I'm
time.
like, Les. You
Yeah.
said you got to be here at 5. What are you doing here at 3?
Mate, okay, so today,
it's-
for example, like Holly and I were messaging each other this morning, was it? Yeah, okay, and we've communicated more in the last 2 days than we have in the last 3 years. But
Yes.
yeah, because we were so determined to be here, bang on.
Yes,
Yeah.
I had a
cool
half
class.
day of work. That's why I asked for this day, because I knew I could leave work half
Oh, right.
half
Yeah.
day. because I was so worried about not being able to make it on time.
I told my parents to stop by me 3 pints at the pub. I was with them this morning, and I was like, 4:00, I had to be home. Half an hour, bang on. 5:00, I set an alarm for 5:30.
Yeah.
By 5:45, I was at the door. I packed my bag beforehand.
Wow.
Haven't even done anything with the bag.
There's so much preparation
Oh,
going
yeah.
to this
Yeah. And then it was like, and then I got to the station. The thing got cancelled. I bounced off.
Right. And you did message me to say you got
I
to be
made
late.
5
sure
p.m.
that
I'm going to be
I-
late, and then you were sending me the same exact messages, and I've sent you my live location just so you knew that you weren't alone.
Thank
Yeah, I
you.
did.
Oh,
Yeah, you're welcome. No, it's all right.
And honestly, I wish I set up, because obviously I finished work at 5, I got home at 6, had dinner. I wish I set up earlier because I forgot how long it takes to set all this equipment up.
But it seems like
forever.
I chose a dress that I wouldn't have to iron or steam
Yep, same.
because
Same t-shirt. I was gonna go through
I know otherwise then I'll
Fuck
get
ironing.
focused on that
Ironing's horrible.
and my awareness of how long things will take.
Yeah, but the thing is though, you're on time though. That
on.
is crazy that you have to think that.
Not
far
all the
ahead.
time.
Mate, no, it's like.
But yeah, it's
impossible. You know what? I
it's just
Open it.
it can be a struggle.
Of course you can, sweet cheese.
I mean, it's the same one I've just been drinking. I just finished a bottle.
Hey,
of it.
you know what? You got it. Go on. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, it can be a struggle, and if you have an appointment at 4 p.m.
Yep.
like you don't want to risk starting anything because if you then don't realise what the time is, that's it, you're screwed.
Nope, fucked. Totally fucked.
And you'll miss it.
Yep, and I have the same thing with meetings in the day. Like, for example, I'd have a 2 p.m. meeting and I would do loads of work, but I would have alarms set, I would have reminders. I mean, today I had an alarm set for 5 o'clock. I have one for yesterday. I had to be on site. I was doing some building work at 1 o'clock, and I showed up at 1:10, and I felt bad. But he was like, "Hey, he's a really nice bloke, actually. You know what? Building is weird because it's like I wouldn't normally have made. I usually work in sort of tertiary areas, like people with degrees, things like that. But being on site is amazing. Like like it's straight up. They just show you how it's done. They're like, "Oh, mate, here's what you do. Done." And like, all right, got it. And then they keep an eye on you. You do it once. I've screwed up the second one. I just got the stones in the wrong order or something like that. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't the end of the world. But the mix was fine. But but I tell you what, I really loved it because it was like all that, like it's all that effort. You're physical. You don't have to talk all the time. And when you do, people are lovely. And I don't get why there's all that stigma against builders. Admittedly, yes, fine. A woman went past and yes, we did whistle. No, I'm joking. You're not allowed to do that anymore. Get 2 years into the clink for that. Like 2 years for whistling at somebody. It's like, what happened? Yeah, okay, I won't do it again. You fucking pricks. But if you swindle the government for millions, that's fine because you're in the fast lane. And if you don't mind killing off half of the elderly generation, then it's okay because you're the Prime Minister. I've been watching the COVID inquiry. Let's not get too political.
No.
Prick. But yeah, I went to a stag do. We had to be at the airport at 5 o'clock, and the worst thing happened was they kept changing the flight time the night before, and I was like, fuck. Because Elena was coming for a different flight at like 10, and we were supposed to be leaving at 6. We had the lounge booked, everything like that. We were there at 5 a.m. I did not sleep that night.
No,
so we're in Berlin having a stag do, and I'd been awake for 24 hours at that point, and I was wasted because it was great fun. But
but exactly that's how it works because you're just so nervous about missing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I had like 4 alarms set. I had everything like that. Fucking exhausting.
Out of interest, so for a basic thing like a flight, if you're like traveling,
we're worse than dads.
Oh yeah,
we are worse than
dads. How early do you get to the airport? Because me and my wife have this debate. Because I like to be early all the time for things. Like my wife is like, oh, you don't need to get there that early. You only need to be.
I will aim.
Jamaican time. He's shit.
Yeah, Jamaican.
He's the most British Jamaican.
Yeah, Jamaicans are notoriously bad for being on time.
I used that expression the other day. Someone called me racist, and I was
you
my
can't
mate Marlon told me. And they were like, "Oh, we've always got a black friend halfway." I'm like, "You can't."
You can't say it.
You can't say it. But
Marlon can say it. You can't say it.
Definitely.
Fuck off. That's
racist. To be honest,
no.
I don't even think it's a Jamaican thing.
Why can't I say it?
I don't even think it's just a Jamaican thing. I don't know. I think it's a black.
I was thinking about this actually earlier. We should do a little segment of like things that make Les sound racist.
Oh no,
it's not. But seriously though, like we're notoriously late for things. But for not me, my family for some reason broke this curse, and we are always early, super early for things. Like I get to interviews an hour early, scout out the area, go to a coffee store.
Huh? That's a good move.
Yeah, scout a coffee store, make sure I know where I need to go to.
Yeah,
and that's how I operate when I go to interviews. But me and my wife have this debate when we go for flights. So she's like, oh, we only going to Europe, like in Europe, so we only need to get there 2 hours early. And I'm like,
what? That's a fucking name.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, get there 3 hours early. She's like, you don't need to.
You can rely on you.
But I'm like, you don't know what's going to happen. But something might happen. You might run late. There might be a delay. Or
See,
something.
I will aim to arrive early, knowing that I will get lost in my head.
Yeah.
Give yourself the extra half hour.
Yeah.
Half
I
hour
will.
of grace
I will
period.
tell myself, even like sometimes for appointments, I will put them in my calendar half an hour early, because I know that I will mess up.
Any questions? If you've got anything you want to talk about, let's start there.
Hardest part about being an ADHD surgeon is the stigma, but I think that's the hardest part about being neurodivergent in any profession.
I lost all faith in that publication when they said that about you.
Yeah.
I was like, go fuck. I mean, I'm obviously very protective over you because
Thank you very much.
She's my girl.
Thank
Fuck
you.
You know, I was like, I'm not having that.
Thank you.
I'm like, the girl's a genius.
That is, oh no, definitely not. Thank you.
But
I think it's probably the stigma, and I'm lucky in the place I'm working in now. But it's going to be a worry in any place I go into.
For me, it's every work environment. All I really want to do is belong in a way, and I think that's why I was so upset about losing that last job, because it's like I knew that it was an ADHD friendly place, and I still fucked it. I was so upset, but I fucked it because a neurodivergent person said, because a normal person said that I wasn't quite there, and it's horseshit.
It's hard.
She influenced my voice.
And there is a stigma, and it can just people can then have preconceived ideas of you and not give you a chance. And I think that's something that needs to change, not just for ADHD, for any neurodivergent diagnosis. And I think things like this just open up that narrative and that dialogue so that people can talk about it. And
I guess with ADHD, you'd be like, you're good at maybe entertainment, being creative.
We are pretty cool.
But I guess putting somebody in charge of my medical well-being is a different story. Or even like something like being a pilot or something, I think would be a different like thought process for me. Like putting somebody with ADHD in charge of that. Just because you know the history of people with ADHD. What I mean.
Well, this is it. You think ADHD, you think sort of 8-year-old boy who's jumping off the sofa, screaming and shouting.
I never actually did that.
No.
No. I was never like that. I was very, very.
But that's what
tame.
most people will think, and it's not that, and it's probably a really badly named diagnosis actually
within the community.
Yeah,
I say the community as if I'd really connect. The point is that it's like it's not so much a deficit, it's
dysregulation.
Dysregulation. It should be, and they should change the D.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, what I want to ask you, what made you want to get into being a surgeon? What drove you to do? Because clearly something drove you to do, because you had like many hurdles to overcome to get to where you are now. So what made you want to do it?
Age 2.5, I was hospitalised with my asthma, and then ended up being hospitalised a number of times. And I decided that I wanted to be a doctor because they kept saving my life. So I made that decision really young, and it stuck with me.
They do stick with you.
Yeah. And then I went to medical school, and I quite enjoyed my surgical placements. I was in a relationship at the time, and he made the decision that, he kind of vocalized that it wouldn't work for both of us to be surgeons if we want a family, so he'll be the surgeon. And I was a little bit naive. It's fine.
Wanker.
It's okay. It's fine. I was a little bit naive. It's okay. And I kind of just went along with it. And then we broke up. It's okay.
You were like 18.
So what made you
post-grad.
Okay, go on.
What made you specialize in urology?
Well, so then I hadn't thought much of it again. We broke up, and then I was like, actually, I might quite like it. I did some surgical specialties, really liked general surgery, but realised I liked the on-calls, which were nice and busy, more than the day-to-day job. But I also then realised that it probably wasn't going to be sustainable for the long term. And it was my friend Rosie, who I mentioned earlier. We spent Galentine's together. And
what's Valentine's?
Girl Valentine's.
Oh,
hell yeah.
Don't.
And And she
Looks
knew...
like suicide watch.
No.
Go on, no, you're fine.
And she knew a lot of people over the years had said that I should consider urology.
Yeah.
And I had my housemate, one of my best friends, was also in urology. And I used to say, why would you want to do that? And then I thought, I will give it a go. The hospital I'm working at, actually, they interviewed me and I had no urology experience. They took a chance on me and took me on without...
the way that I always succeed is that
Yeah.
people, there's that one person that sees that you're actually really keen, they see the sparkle,
Yeah.
and they're like, yeah, go on then. That's how I got into journalism.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, I was not supposed to be a journalist, but
Yeah.
I was, and I was damn good at it. But yeah, it's like, yeah.
And then I've been loving it ever since. And I remember someone telling me, you know, is it that we choose our specialty or does the specialty choose us?
You
And
fall
I think
into
that
it.
might be part of it. And
That's what the most successful people say, is that I accidentally became this.
and one of my colleagues used to tell me, he's like, Holly, look around. Who are the happiest surgeons? Urologists. He's like, I think you'd fit in.
Aww.
That was very nice.
It's a really weird thing that they'd be happy about, because I'd have thought the happiest ones would be like, you know, I don't know, like the ones who get to do the cool stuff, like, you know, like...
We get to
Slice and
the
dice.
cool stuff. Thank you. I slice
Wait.
and dice.
What do you slice and dice?
Yeah, you don't want to know.
I do.
But what kind of things do you do? Do you deal with cancer, kidney stones? What kind of things do you deal with
Kidney
for
stones.
guys?
For guys,
Yeah.
kidney stones, circumcisions, testicular torsions.
all
Oh, adult circumcisions.
Yeah.
So, how do you get... What's the
What's
easiest
the oldest
way to get a statistic at torsion?
randomly? What's the oldest guy
We're
you
talking about
circumcised?
penises. We're all in.
I think he was in his 70s.
Oh my! Why would you do that in your 70s?
Why would you hurt him? Sorry. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. I've been Les, obviously,
I'm Marlon White.
and this is
Holly Colvin.
our fantastic little doctor. Well, not doctor, sorry, surgeon. We said surgeon.
So I'm a doctor.
Well, doctor and a surgeon. A surgeon and a doctor.
So what was it like when you received that title? Because I remember I work in universities.
Oh my gosh,
I
amazing.
remember somebody that I had to do like a planner and I had to update her title from Mrs. to Doctor.
Yeah.
It was like a big moment.
Oh, when
for
I
her.
got
I know
doctor?
that direction.
When I we had to go and to the universities to see if our names were on a piece of paper. My feet didn't touch the ground as one of my best friends. My mum carried me up the stairs, and my eyesight is better than theirs. And I remember seeing it from must be like triple this length across the
Where did
room.
they carry you?
Because I was so nervous. I couldn't my feet. I couldn't walk. And I remember just seeing my name, and I was like, "It's on there." And they both admit they looked at each other like, "Are we sure she's got this right?" Because that's very far away. I was like, "I'm on there," and the three of us basically fell on the floor and cried.
Oh my god!
So receiving the
You did a lot
doctor
of
title was
crying.
huge.
That's-
I love my crying.
Yeah.
Hey, it lets out a lot of emotions,
Yeah.
and it's healthy. Crying
lucky.
is healthy.
Especially somebody with ADHD.
Yeah.
You've
I
overcome a
don't know.
lot.
Thank you.
Can't
And
really.
well done to you.
Yeah,
Thank you very
incredible
much.
woman.
Thank you.
Well
I'm
done.
very lucky
And
to
it
have had
shows-
so many
it shows
people.
everybody that you can achieve your dreams no
Unreal.
matter what
Thank
obstacles you have.
Yeah,
Thank
you're somebody
you.
I've absolutely
Well
always
done.
admired as
Thank
well.
you.
And I'm
Can
not
I-
just saying it to kiss your
Yeah.
ass. I mean, not just because you're a guest, but
Thank
genuinely, I was like, she's got ADHD and a surgeon. I was like,
Thank
like
you.
jackpot.
Yeah.
And you were single at the time as well, I think. I was a bit like, hello.
And when Les mentioned, you've got a surgeon with ADHD, I'm like, bring her on. I don't.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
exactly. You were
really
straight on the. Yeah, you were top of the list
Something
straight off.
I know.
And you were like, "Are you
Foot to
sure?" And
Thank
I
you.
was like, "Fuck yeah, we're sure."
Yeah,
Thank you.
and
I was like, yeah.
we'll love to have you on
I
again.
would love to come back
And
again.
bring your
if you're
boyfriend as
okay.
well.
You've
just
been
'cause
brilliant.
it'd be
You've
funny.
been brilliant. But let's wrap this up.
Thank
I don't
you
think I know
both so
about
much.
Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been an honour.
You're welcome back anytime.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Look
I'll
at
be
her
knocking
shifting
on
all
your
over a
door.
seat. It's really cute. Okay, right.